Hey everyone, it's Janet here today. Today's video kind of recapping all about London street style. So as a San Francisco girl, I love getting out to other cities and destinations and also combining it with a little bit of electronic music or techno, whatever you call it. So I saw that Printworks was closing in May and one of my favorite duos playing a show, and I figured I had to go and check it out. And so that's what I went to go do, is get on a plane to go see KX5. Not really necessarily for KX5, but I wanted to get away, and I haven't been to London in a few years. And when you live in San Francisco and you spend most of your time in San Francisco or in major US cities, you get a little complacent in, not complacent, but you get a little lazy in not getting out and seeing other places and seeing how people dress and what styles they are inspired by at the same time. What I noticed that a lot of, so as a, when you look, as you San Francisco is a very tech city, and one thing you'll notice is that we're very casual, very athleisure. There are pockets of people that have really good style or like a strong sense of style, but that's very rare. You'll see that more in like neighborhoods like the Haight, for example, or maybe the Mission. And that's because those neighborhoods are more like either hipster or trendy, or the Haight's more hip. The Haight's more hippie drippy. That sort of like hippie era. It's still got that hippie era inspiration behind it. And so that was actually really interesting to see like how strong the style dynamic, the individual style dynamic was in London. It tells you that people are really feel good about themselves. They like to dress up. They care about how they look. They want to tell you a little bit about who they are and what inspires them. And that's what really got me really excited about my trip, was just seeing all those inspirational, not those inspirational, but all those really cool and unique and diverse styles, whether it was like an embroidered denim jacket or a lot of pattern mixing and things like that. Get a sense in London that people really value their self-expression and they like getting dressed, and it makes them feel good. It gives them self-confidence. It makes them sharp. It helps them sharpen their voice. It helps them sharpen their self-identity. And that's what really captured my eye most in the city of London, because in San Francisco, everything is pretty vanilla, pretty homogenous. You get a lot of like North Face and Patagonia and corporate style. Like in San Francisco, you see a lot of people wearing their free startup t-shirts and backpacks and water bottles. And you don't see that in London. It's very, and at least I didn't see that much. And I also asked around if that was like the culture of London or the culture of the people of London. That's actually not, because they really value, they're very, not rebellious, but maybe it is part of the British culture. But they really value who they are, and they really don't want to conform or feel like they need to adopt their company's clothing as part of their identity. And the weekends or off duty, or even during the weekdays. And so that was really interesting to me. So I wanted to recap a lot of my favorite styles that I saw in London while I was there. And I walked around a lot, so I tried to get as much, so I tried to capture as much and be open to seeing as much as I could in different neighborhoods, whether it's like walking around where I was staying in Bethnal Green, or it was like walking from taking Bethnal Green to like different sides of the city, to Shoreditch, to Columbia Road Market, or to all the touristy destinations or non-touristy destinations. And so it was really interesting. The first thing that I saw, I want to give my Airbnb host, it was actually Kate and Cedric, they're amazing. The first thing that I saw when I walked in after getting off the plane, after a very long flight, and I had missed my original flight in San Francisco to Boston or JFK, and I was having a little bit of a sort of meltdown that I was going to not get to London in time. So after a very long, dreary day of connections and trying to calm my nerves down, the first thing that caught my eye was Cedric's pants. He had these diesel jeans that he had his tailor rework into different that had been worn out over the years, and so he just had his tailor add patches, but they were just like denim patches or just regular pieces of fabric. I really liked that they were very colorful and very distinct, and the patches reminded me of the moving blankets that you see when you see professional movers move furniture. They have those blue or white padded blankets. And so that's what it reminded me of when I saw these pants. That was the first thing that I saw. And then while walking around, maybe it's just Bethnal Green. Bethnal Green is a very hipster kind of area. But I really liked this woman was wearing this distressed denim jacket with a patch in the back that says Brazil. And I thought it was cool because it was distressed and had all these little patches. But the thing that stood out was Brazil. And I didn't quite get a chance to flag her down and ask her if she was from Brazil. But I thought that was just kind of a really cool way of taking something that's very simple and elevating it. At the vintage shop somewhere on Bethnal Green Road, I met a woman who was looking for shoes. She was wearing this really cool black dress, like this long black maxi dress, cocktail dress. And she said to the store owner, "No, I always wear it matchy. And let's mix it up." And so she had grabbed these Americana themed heels or boots from the store. She said, "You know what? Let's mix it up. I want to not look the same all the time wearing black." And I thought that was really cool that she knew that right away. On the tube later that night, I was going to Printworks to see KX. So it was actually not KX5, but anyways, this woman, she was wearing all black. I didn't get to ask her what her occupation was, but I thought it was really cool that she was wearing all black. But the black wasn't the black was a very breezy fit. It wasn't a very structured black fit. And it was very carefree, very artistic. And the pants were these palazzo harem pants, like the ones in Aladdin. And she topped the look off with these Gore-Tex black boots, these really tough black boots with these silver buckles going across. So I thought that was really an interesting black kind of fit. And then I was talking to another guy on the tube who was wearing these really cool Adidas sneakers from Yohji Yamamoto. And they were really cool because they had this rubber covering on the exterior. So it really added to the whole aesthetic of being a really streetwear kind of sneaker. One thing I also noticed was that women and men are also when I say they're well dressed, they really care about how they style themselves. You don't see the corporate fits. But they really like dressing up, and they really have a strong sense of what they like and what they don't like and how they dress even when they go out and when they take public transportation. And I was when I was taking the escalator down the tube, I met a woman who was wearing this really amazing zebra print coat. I thought it was really awesome. It was very elegant, very chic, very sophisticated. Also on the tube, I saw a guy, he was probably fairly young, in his 30s or maybe. He was very you don't even, obviously think also it depends on age and where you're going. But even the men aren't wearing t-shirts and hoodies in that sloppy kind of casual San Francisco, whatever kind of way. The men were very intentional. I saw this guy on the tube wearing these blue slack pants and a button-up shirt. And he wore a burgundy sport coat with it and these really nice brown boots. I thought, hey, this is really cool. It's a Saturday and I don't know where he's going, but he's very well dressed and he's very put together. Obviously, the men, depending on who they are and where they're going, have a very distinct style. They may be more well dressed and polished, or they may be more avant-garde or more edgy or more funky. I think in Borough Hill or one of the markets, and this guy was wearing this fringe long hoodie with these silver palazzo pants and some loafers. I thought that was a really funky look. I don't know, he wasn't working at the vintage shop, or the market rather. And I just thought it was really fun and unique. And one thing you notice that people are not afraid to pattern mix. So there was a woman I met walking along Bethnal Green, and she had these brown and white cow print pants with sneakers and this graffiti print bomber jacket. And she topped it off with a lavender beanie. So you got a whole lot of different, it's not like matchy, but it's very like fun. It's very cool. It's very urban. And I like that she wanted to put that together, I went to the Victoria and Albert Museum, and I was really intrigued by this woman's sort of athleisure fit. It's like a onesie with a slit at the hip, and she topped it off with a shrug. I thought that was really interesting. It was a really interesting fit for an athleisure piece. She didn't make it like very athleisure, but she added like the shrug for a very cool, offbeat kind of vibe. On the tube, again, later that night, I imagine this woman works in like marketing. It sounds like she worked in marketing or like tech. And she was just very monochromatic, in a very monochromatic look, wearing like mostly gray. But her trench coat she was wearing a padded black trench coat. And usually, trench coats come with their own matching belts. But she didn't use the belt that came with this trench coat. At least it didn't seem like it. She used a separate sort of like the handle, the strap from like a messenger or bike bag, that industrial sort of like the way they clip together belt. And I thought it was actually really cool because normally people just take what is given in a look, what is given with a garment, and they use it. And they don't actually think about, hey, maybe I can take the belt off and try another belt. You know what I mean? So I thought it was a really cool way of like making the jacket more fitted with a industrial kind of belt. And she topped the look off with Alexander McQueen sneakers. Along my walk one day, I took a different road, just kind of meandering and exploring. I met a woman who was a designer, and she had made this really cool dress out of old shoelaces, out of different colored shoelaces. And it was really interesting because it was this kind of streetwear fit, very like offbeat and with threads. And I thought it was really interesting because they were very colorful and it was very vibrant. I saw a lot of men and women wear shearling coats and things like that. So that was very distinct. But one of my favorites was this hot pink Moncler jacket this woman wore somewhere, I think in Shoreditch. And she topped it off with these like graffiti or this like genie print denim jeans. And there was like a genie on one designed on one leg, and then the other was like a skeleton. And it was just very urban, very streetwear, but just like topping it off with the hot pink puffer was really fun and really cool. And also in Shoreditch, I met a woman, even though her look was very simple, what really made it stand out were the pants. She said she bought them in Paris. And at the side of the pants, it says "Beautiful Life" all over. I thought that's a really great way of saying something about how you feel and not having to necessarily say it, but just wear it. And so that's a great style piece. I walked further along, getting lost in Whitechapel, which seems like more like a financial district kind of area. The men were dressed in all blue suits. So it seemed like they were in finance. I didn't actually check what the area was about, but I was headed to the Whitechapel Gallery. And as I was walking there, I saw a woman. I don't know if she was going to work, but she was wearing this navy blue and white polka dot dress with these penny loafers and this fur coat, but it was cropped at the hip. And she was carrying a leather tote bag. And I thought that was really cool because even in San Francisco's financial district, you'll see women dressed straight out of a Banana Republic or Gap ad. Either it's very like basic and simple, or it's very suited up depending on their job. And so I like that, I don't know what this woman's profession was, or occupation rather, but I like that she, even in the winter, she was dressed very well. She was wearing a fun dress, and she was wearing a fur coat, and it was very elegantly put together versus being like a corporate suit type. Maybe her role allowed her to be more or less homogenous. Continuing on in Whitechapel, I really love these ivory pants this guy had. I couldn't quite tell what it said, but it had all these cool patches and words, and it said worldwide, and it had all these cities on it, European cities on it. And the guy told me that they were from Boohoo. And I thought they were really cool, and he topped it off with a Goyard tote bag. So I thought it was really interesting. I finally made it to the gallery. I think it's the Whitechapel Art Gallery. And while roaming around the bookstore or gift shop, I met this guy wearing this really cool Argyle sweater with the plaid skirt and the jeans underneath and these chunky loafers. And he topped it off with this like chain necklace that he said he got at the market for $1. And I just loved the whole fit because it was really streetwear, but not like streetwear. And it was very like edgy and avant-garde in its own distinct way. So those were my favorite looks that I saw on the street in London. And it really tells you a lot about a city and the culture and the people when there's such a strong sense of individual expression. It tells you that people do not believe in conformity, that people don't conform, people don't want to wear their company's free clothing off duty or after work. And it tells you that people value that they have a strong sense of their voice. Because when you have a strong sense of your voice, your style comes through in that. And when your style comes through, you attract that kind of attention that you've been wanting. You attract the kind of good attention. You attract the attention of people who want to work with you. You attract the attention of people who want to connect with you for opportunities or collaborate. And so I thought that was a really great way of seeing that in London. So that was my little recap. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Love to hear what your favorite fits were from